All right, it's Mike and it's Byron. Say hello to people, Byron.
No.
Our audio settings got lost, so apologies in advance if this is too loud, too quiet, etc. Leave your feedback. We do wish, as lazy as we are, we do wish to get this somewhat correct.
Also correct.
So we're doing the 205 and NXT reviews from this week.
You said we were doing Best of Super Juniors. You lied to me.
I did not say any such thing.
That's probably also true.
I don't know why you keep accusing me of lying to you.
Because it's entertaining.
But it's
what the fans want to see.
It's factually not true.
Right.
Okay, whatever. If you wish to hear Byron continue to lie to me, please leave that in the comments as well. We'll find out if this is actually entertaining.
I find it entertaining to fabricate certain realities.
All right, let's kick off with 205 Live, which opened up with a recap of the Neville and Tozawa stuff. Fine. And then we had a Gentleman Jack Gallagher promo. Which
I say Raw, though.
Was kind of him just saying he's going to be ready for heel tactics tonight in his match against the Brian Kendrick, which is good to see Kendrick back in action.
I hear that if they do a tour of Mexico, he'll be known as Los by Brian Kendrick.
Would that not make him multiples as opposed to being?
I don't speak Spanish. I don't know.
I think we need additional Brian Kendricks.
You can't. I've seen that episode. There was an other Brian Kendrick.
Mm-hmm. He needs to go to Lucha Underground and join Paul London because they did great work together. So onwards to the match. We had Gentleman Jack come out, and then Brian Kendrick come out spoofing Gentleman Jack. So, did you enjoy that?
I did indeed. I liked the at first because they shot it from a distance. It looked like he had actually styled his beard and mustache in a ridiculous fashion, and then which I thought was hilarious. And then the closer they got, the more apparent it was that he had actually just taped on a ridiculous mustache, which was even better. And
I mean, you can't ask a man to ruin his facial hair for the gimmick.
Well, you don't need to ruin it. I thought he just grew some extra facial hair and then they just gelled it in place.
The anti-English part of this promo was kind of weird.
It's a bit odd.
Yeah, that took me as a little bit of a weird deal.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm good with this feud, though. Definitely an interesting one that I didn't see coming. And I'm not really sure what the motivation is, but he's a man with a plan, so there's got to be a plan involved, right?
Yeah, it's a tad bit weird, but I'm hoping it becomes more flushed out as the weeks go on.
Yeah.
The match itself was decent. I wouldn't say it's anything great because these two guys could do a lot better.
Yes.
But the psychology was sound in it. Kendrick was rougher than usual, which is good. It indicates him being angry. Maybe the whole Tozawa loss in the feud will fuel him to be something even more interesting. And
Indeed.
Jack eventually gets the win because of the DQ due to an umbrella shot to the...
Multiple.
Well, technically the first one was the DQ, and then after that was just post-match beatdown with two separate umbrellas.
And did he hit somebody right in the face when he chucked a hunk of umbrella into the crowd? Or what? Does anybody know anything, or were there any details?
I haven't heard any details yet.
Okay, because he winged a chunk of umbrella. The first umbrella he used broke up, and he winged it right into the crowd. And there was some "whoa" kind of sounds from the crowd, so it kind of sounded like somebody got nailed.
Possibly.
He may be in trouble.
You are in the splash zone.
Correct. You bought the ticket, take the ride.
Anyways, some good stuff with hopefully good things to come. And then we had Gulak and Mustafa Ali doing some backstage stuff.
Might I just say that I called this particular match?
Yep, no, I agree. I would have waited maybe one more match to have Gulak try to do like something from the top rope.
There's just no time for that, I don't think. They just don't... They're not going to give them time for that. And they've already stretched this out with no additional sort of real reason to have the feud because Ali's beat him like a couple of times, a couple of different ways.
Well, they're 1-1 against each other.
I thought Ali was just basically kicking his butt most of the time.
Nah,
except for like one cheat win.
Gulak won the first match they had, and Ali won the second match, where this was only match number 3.
I'm pretty sure they've had more matches than that.
Only recently. I can only recall 2.
I don't know. The feud's been going on for more than a month, and they've had more than a couple of matches in the last month.
They've also had they've had a couple of matches that involved this feud without them being in there. Like Ali had 2 matches where Gulak
Gulak just interfered, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you also have a couple of episodes where they're not on the show because they have 3 matches a show. A good portion of the roster doesn't see week to week action.
Correct. Yeah, that probably would give me the impression that they were. The feud definitely has been going on longer than.
Yeah,
I think it really needs to. I think it's time that they actually did elevate something, because they had last week he beat him on the ground, and I did say last week it'd be really funny if they did this with Gulak, and they did, and it was funny, and I did enjoy it.
I'm just saying, I would have saved it for the 4th match. Have this one be kind of like the Ali proving he didn't beat Gulak by fluke match. And then Gulak starts to, panic and stuff. And match number 4, he goes high rent. Ali gets the win, and then you blow the feud off. That way you get one more match.
Yeah, they're definitely having more matches. It's
you have one more match that I actually care about. I suppose I should put it that way.
Well, that's the other thing, is that they've strung it along for such a long time when they weren't having matches, that I'm now convinced that they've had a lot of matches even though they haven't. And it's time. I think it is time. I don't want another just match. I
would agree if I could see something better to move either of these guys off onto. And is there what?
I don't know.
Would you there's this roster.
Make him feud with Graham League.
The problem with the 205 roster is it's really small. The number of possible permutations are quite limited. And you also have the fact that you only have an hour, therefore things don't really get established. So I'm not in a hurry to end this feud unless there's something else for one of them, presumably Ali, to go on to.
I just assume that Gulak is going to goon it up, he's going to get some cohorts, and he's going to start picking on Mustafa Ali, and therefore they're going to extend the feud. Because it's going to be in the next match they have, which will be a rematch for the rematch on the rematch, will be probably another loss for Gulak, unless Gulak cheats massively, in which case then they're going to have another match, because Buddy McDude got cheated, and he's going to need revenge, and then they'll have another match, and then there'll be some cohorts, and he won't get another win until after SummerSlam, and then you've had your big old feud.
I hope it doesn't go that far. I just think it has a little bit more legs to it.
They don't have anything else to do.
Spot of the match, though, was that suplex into the turnbuckle on Aaliyah. Yeah. That was very nice.
He put that dude's tailbone right on a fucking turnbuckle. Holy diver.
Then we move on to an Arya Daivari and Noam Dar backstage deal. Basically, we're recapping the bag incident. It occurred to me during this thing is that they're talking about Dar owing him $15,000 for the bag. Yeah. But I recall that bag was given to Daivari. He didn't pay a cent for it.
That is true, but you don't stay rich by giving away $15,000 bags.
But he did give away $15,000.
Not really. He sort of, instead of taking out...
He's basically got Dar interfering in the match on his behalf.
Well, it's ass, gas, or cash. No one throws away a bag for free. Mm-hmm. And he's decided that the cash isn't worth it. So
Noam Dar
is... see Noam Dar do humiliating things for 3 or 4 weeks.
Well, as long as this Alicia Fox thing is going on, I think that's the case, because he's at this point batted boyfriend syndrome.
Yeah.
Full on.
And then Daivari steals Alicia Fox because he's like, fuck you, you owe me money. And then they get into a whole prostitution angle, and it gets really dark.
I'd be down for that, except for the darkness, I suppose.
And it gets really dark.
I would probably draw the line at the prostitution angle, but...
really dark.
But, this was, anything with Noam Dar at this point, I'm just not really behind. And it's not his fault, it's just this angle sucks.
And you and I were talking, I'll say it again, the look of pure disgust on Daivari's face while he's talking to Noam Dar, fucking great. That guy is really good.
It's the look you give to your friend who's completely pussy whipped. That's what that look is.
A total disgust.
Yeah. Just a side bender here. I don't usually talk about commercials, but Kevin Owens doing the Supercard commercial was actually pretty freaking hilarious. That was good.
That guy is so over. It's not funny. Even when he hasn't had anything to do for, 6 months, he's still the most over.
Then we had Cedric Alexander versus Arya Daivari, which was this was a fine match. It was acceptable, but yeah. Daivari could do a lot more if they let him expand. Much like Noam Dar. I mean, these two both are very credible wrestlers that are not really allowed to wrestle. They're given very little to actually do. The highlight of the match was basically Daivari countering one of those springboard elbow type deals into a rear naked choke. That was nice. That was good work.
Agreed.
And then Dar comes out, he provides the distraction, and Daivari gets the win with a hammerlock lariat, which I'm going to throw it out there. It looks cooler than it sounds.
Yeah. It was pretty good. It's a fine match. Would have liked to see more of good things, but acceptable things don't suck either, so...
Yep, nothing great, but nothing terrible. And then we get a post-match attack from Dar, and he talks about wanting to move on, and like everyone except Alicia Fox wants this feud to end.
Yeah.
It's really, really bad.
Well, I mean, at least they've got some sort of motivation for Cedric to not move on now.
This was better. On his mind. This was definitely better than what they have historically done with this feud.
Mm-hmm.
Like this ironically is a minor high point. Then we had a Neville promo in the ring. Standard content, but great delivery. I was marking out to it. And
he is a one-note character at this point, but his delivery makes it pretty okay.
In fairness, though, it's a one note that actually works. They've had a history, like Jinder Mahal, for example, is an example of the one note that doesn't really work.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's basically, you judge me for how I look, blah, blah, blah. And the problem with that is that 205 Live coming right on after SmackDown, we have Mustafa Ali, who's over as hell with the crowd, despite, to most Americans, probably looking like he's from the same place as Jinder Mahal.
Yeah.
Like, I understand one's Indian and one is, I'm assuming that Ali
I think
is
he's
Persian.
Iranian. Yeah, I think he's Iranian, maybe Turkish?
I believe he's Iranian, I think.
Let me find out.
Yeah, look that up. But,
keep talking.
But Muslim heritage of some kind as opposed to the Indian heritage of Mahal. But I'm just talking from a level of what the standard American and to a degree Canadian audience sees. They're not that different. And it kind of makes it a little bit obvious that the Mahal gimmick just doesn't really make any sense with the one note it has.
Adil Alam, a.k.a. Mustafa Ali, a.k.a. Prince Mustafa Ali, a.k.a. Alto, is an American wrestler of Pakistani descent. He is
so even closer than I was thinking.
He is from Bolingbrook, Illinois.
We end up with Tozawa coming out and doing the ha bit, which was driving Neville nuts, and I loved it. But please don't let this turn. That was fantastic. Please don't let this turn into the what chant.
Yeah, well, you know what? I could deal with a little ha more than I could do with the what. But this played on all kinds of levels. Neville was going flip dangling nuts because his character needs to be feared, or at minimum you have to have your utmost respect for him, and the fact that
it is definitely something he craves to a psychological need, and
to have another character come out and basically completely deny him that sends him into a complete fit, which was fantastic, and it was good times.
Yep, and basically Tozawa just kicks him out of the ring, and we go off the air.
He looks good in a suit, too.
He does. He looks very spiffy in a suit. So all the good stuff. Interesting pushing of a Japanese wrestler, finally.
Yeah.
Without being like a tremendous Asian stereotype deal. I mean, to a degree, Titus is treating him as such, but that's because Titus is, in storyline, an idiot.
Yeah, pretty much.
So that works. And then we move on to NXT, which is going to be the last woman standing match, which, presumably will take up most of the show. And we open up... Yeah, go ahead.
I was very sad that I was not going to get the the match that I thought was going to happen, the Neville versus Tozawa, because I thought it was going to be this week, and I don't know why I thought that. And it's on the pay-per-view, and don't be an idiot. But, I watched 205 Live, and then immediately queued up NXT to watch that as well. And they're like, last women's standing match this week. I'm like, yes! Oh, fuck yes! Even better!
Also had Hideo Itami and Oni Lorcan on the...
that was... they came right up front and said, last women's standing match is this week. I'm like, oh, I forgot about that. This is going to be the best.
Uh-huh. Mauro Ranallo replacing Tom Phillips on commentary, which...
I marked out for it.
Yeah, more Mauro is good. I understand not everyone digs Mauro, but I do.
But they're wrong. I marked out pretty huge. And the way they introduced him was like, my name is Nigel McGuinness, and this man is Mauro Ranallo. Yes! Yeah.
I will say that the chemistry between Nigel, Percy, and Mauro does need a little tweaking. It's a little heavy on the Mauro and not enough from the other two guys right now. So
and
bring it back 10 to 15%.
The one thing I must criticize, and it's not the announcer's fault. Okay, a little bit it was their fault. Like, for instance, Vic Romano there on 205 tape delay. He had a little bit of Pete and repeat going on. He would, during the Ali Gulak match, he called Ali Gulak a couple of times, and he did that a couple times in a couple different matches where he would just use the same name for both wrestlers a couple times.
Yeah.
So there was, I think what was going on NXT, for example, was some idiot in the back with Bucky Beaverteeth was feeding the same line to Mauro and Percy, and Mauro and Percy spent most of the evening almost tripping over each other. And I don't think it was either of their faults. I think it was just some idiot in the back.
I've always thought that, honestly, you let the commentators almost approach this as if it's a fight.
Well, that's what Mauro does, and if they shut up and let him work,
that's what I mean is just shut up and let them commentate. That's out there to do. Then you can commentate on the action and make it work. Like, feed him some stuff in between matches. You got to pimp this, got to pimp that. I understand that, but during the match, realistically, you don't really need notes. Almost.
Nope. Case in point, I am now completely sold on Velveteen Dream because Mauro Ranallo did such an excellent job commentating. I'm sold. I'm down. I want to see more. He put him over in all the right ways. I now understand why I'm supposed to be watching this character and not so much just like picking apart the flaws all the time. So that, to me, that dude paid dividends right there. He may have saved Tyler Clark's career just by being on, same thing. Patrick Taves or Jonathan Toads or something. Anyway, he may have saved that kid's career just by being on commentary. If anybody else had the same reaction I did, I would not hesitate to state the fact that either he's going to be in developmental a lot less often or a lot less time, or he just flat out will have a much better career because some guy was there to put him over correctly.
I mean, I'm feeling better about Velveteen Dream, which the next match was Velveteen Dream versus Ho Ho Loon.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
Which, I felt better about Dream because his work in this match was better. I think probably because he's working there with a guy who is, a pretty good worker in Ho Ho Loon. And you have Mauro Ranallo on commentary, I think does help him a lot. Exactly. Although it was a bit weird to say Ho Ho Loon on NXT as opposed to 205 Live, where he's, supposed to be on the roster. But
205 XT.
Elbow drop finish from Dream for the 3 count.
He's
still a little awkward. There's still a lot of work to do, but this was a step forward.
But what they did is they sold him as being not a complete weirdo. They sold him as being, what was the line Nigel used? Particular and peculiar. Mm-hmm. And they just kind of sold him as being a bit of an odd duck, but he's not. Everybody. They even said everybody's got their weird little thing, and he just happens to have more than most, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Then we had Asuka doing an in the car interview, which was interrupted when Nikki Cross attacked the car.
That was awesome.
That was
That's some straight up Cactus Jack shit right there.
Yep. So I was fine with that. And then we had William Regal making literally the biggest match in NXT history with Heavy Machinery challenging the Authors of Pain for the tag titles in 2 weeks.
Correct.
This was good. And this is also how you make use of a general manager, I think, that's largely been forgotten by WWE for a really long time. Is he's there to make big moments. As soon as you see William Regal, you know something big is going down.
Yep.
And that was what this was.
And they put Otis Dozovich over as being just the weirdest fucker ever, and I like that.
From all accounts, he is the weirdest fucker ever.
I'm fine with it. Was part of that even English? I don't know.
Part of it wasn't English.
Fair enough.
Hideo Itami versus Oni Lorcan Dos.
Holy shit, this match.
Lorcan came out and busted him open the hard way.
Yeah, and you know what? Something in the back of my mind says that Itami's like, come out here and just fucking blast me. Something tells me that while they probably weren't going for the legit broken nose, he was not unhappy about it, just to kind of prove a point, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And then the match briefly gets waved off. Well, not briefly, actually, a pretty decent chunk of time. While we run a Roddy Strong and Bobby Roode package. And then it returns with Itami returning to the ring and calling out Oni Lorcan to finish business.
Indeed. This is quite good. This is what I expected. This is what I wanted. This was stiff. There was a couple of receipts back and forth on this one. You never want to see anybody get legit hurt, but I God damn it, I'm not ashamed to say I prefer. I like my matches and my drinks the same way. Stiff.
Mm-hmm. The Tornado DDT onto the rope spot, really cool stuff right there. They did have an annoying commercial break thrown in here at a terrible moment.
They had so many weird dumb, and they later on they pulled a couple of dumb promo spots that, dude, I'm tuned in already.
Particularly
Stop
since
promoting the network on the network.
The thing is particularly because you had that break between the start of the match and the resumption of the match that you could have filled with commercials and shit.
Get your shit in there. God damn it.
Itami's still doing some heelish things where he plays possum like he's hurt and then he kicks Lorcan's knee out from under him.
Yeah.
And that played into the finish because Lorcan's knee was messed up. He tells the referee not to stop the fight and then eats a go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And your winner, Hideo Itami, via pinfall after the go to sleep.
Highly enjoyable. I liked the match quite a bit.
Yeah, this was a very good match. I really enjoyed this. The last woman standing match is better, but it should be.
Yeah, it was like the perfect appetizer. Just kind of, ooh, this was good. Oh, there's more to come. Ooh.
And we also set up Itami's continuation with him and Cassius Ohno against Sanity because he calls out Cassius Ohno, and they get ambushed by Sanity -1 Eric Young.
Yep.
We get some mic time for Alexander Wolf, which
I liked it.
I liked work, his promo, but I did like it. Yeah.
Yeah, I liked his style. He says things in a way that isn't like the way everybody else is saying them.
He does seem messed up, basically.
Yeah, he does. He speaks very good English. I had always heard he's German, and that's all I friggin' well knew about him. He's German, and he does the half goose step tomahawk chop thing. Which may not be over, I don't know. But yeah, I liked how he was saying things. The content largely, I understood what he was saying. He got his point across, and I didn't have any problems following his logic, so he did very well there. And it's just, I think he just did it in a style that maybe a lot of people aren't quite comfortable with.
It just needs a little bit of fine tuning, and I think it'll be very good.
Yeah, but he said stuff like, you don't expect anybody dressed like that or looking like that to use words like maestro, but stuff like that. And what I really liked actually, and
Eric Young versus Vampiro, anyone?
Oh. Anyway, the one thing I really enjoyed, and it's probably because I've been listening to a lot of Bjork this week, is that he doesn't quite like he's got like, I would say, just from listening to this, I would say he's almost totally fluent in English. But there are some weird little things and little pronunciation differences that are so different that they just stand out. And I'd have to rewatch the thing to point them out to you directly. But for instance, in one of her songs, Bjork uses the word half, as in cut in half, but she pronounces the L. So that just kind of just jumps right out and attaches to your brain, and he's got that kind of delivery as well. So it's very, I enjoy it a lot.
Yep. And this also led us into the last women match because Nikki Cross goes just nuts and starts hitting her own like stablemates.
Get out! Get out! Get out! Get out! Get out! And because she wants that match to start right now.
Oh yeah.
And the rest of us do as well. And I thought it was really hilarious when they finally did get out of the ring and they're a little ways up the ramp and she just kind of giggles and waves and bye, and then like right back into psycho mode.
Indeed. So the matchup starts off. First thing I'm going to note is nice use of the ring skirt to catch Asuka and let Nikki build herself an arsenal of chairs.
Yeah.
Some good outside brawling here. We get a good trash can kick spot for Asuka, where we also get an ECW chant. That's some good stuff. A general note I have on last standing matches is, and this match actually did a good job of addressing this hang-up I have, but a lot of the time is the person who's knocked the other person down, and there's a 10 count going on, just stands there as opposed to going and getting more shit. And it's not against the rules to go get more shit, so go get more shit. But after a while, they did start doing that, where they were during the count, they were getting more chairs and stuff. So
at one point, Nikki goes out because there was a little quasi combination of, I'm pretty sure I've won, but I need a guarantee. So she went outside the ring, and if you listen, she said, "Give me my title." So there's a little bit of, I'm gonna win this fucking thing, and also I need a weapon. So enjoyable.
So they did a good job with that, although there were a couple of standing around spots that I'm not really keen on, but didn't take away from the match at all.
No.
We had some big bumps on the chair stacks, which was cool. I mean, these two ladies took this was not a soft last woman standing match.
No. And there were kids there, man. There were kids there. Who brings their kids to, whatever. Anyway, bad parenting decision. But these kids, I think the kids actually added a full star rating onto the match because they were brawling over by the announce table and stuff, and they're like right next to these kids, and the kids are just cheering Asuka on. Get up, Asuka, get up! You gotta get her, Asuka, get her! It was great.
Indeed, crowd reaction's always big. 4 swinging fisherman neckbreakers from Nikki Cross in a row, very smoothly done as well. We get a power bomb. Asuka gets power bombed onto a bunch of chairs. It was not the prettiest execution. It looked like a little botched, but still good. And then we had a leaping hip attack off of the ramp from Asuka, which I wrote Taguchi approves.
Indeed. She usually uses them early on in the match, but she didn't get out of the blocks, so Nikki Cross was all over her. And it was kind of cool to see. It actually did stand out for me in kind of a negative way, because I don't think that's the time and place to use that move, but I'm not a pro wrestler, so...
I'm not really sure what you would use in that small distance off of the ramp, though, instead.
That's true.
I guess you could do like a double axe handle or something.
Do crossbody.
Yeah. Is there enough room to even do the crossbody there?
Well, you could you'd either do that or do a diving DDT.
That would be cool.
That would have been cool. That's just nitpicky shit, though.
But yeah, I got no problem with the hip attack. Then we end up with of course, the holy shit chant as we finish it off with Asuka suplexing herself and Cross off of a ladder onto the announce table.
Do you see the slow-mo replay?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's rough.
The ladder had been set up by Nikki Cross to put her through like a plastic black folding table.
That was going to be really rough.
That was going to be really rough, but we ended up going through the announce table instead, which is probably safer.
Yeah.
And Asuka just barely beats the count to retain her title.
Mm-hmm.
I would have had Nikki Cross win this match, really, but it would have been to get the title off Asuka and let her go up to the main roster.
Yeah.
I don't really know if you're going to create a better... a better moment to take the title off from this. I know they want to put it on Ember Moon. They want to have Ember Moon conquer it, face.
It's going to be
big
so
face
flat,
pop.
though. It's going to fall so far short of this mark.
Exactly, which is why I would have had Nikki Cross win it here, and then have Nikki go on a bit of a monster spree, and then you could have Ember Moon beat Nikki and do it that way.
And you protect both characters.
Exactly. That would have, I think, been better.
You know, and I know that they're going to call Asuka. They're going to do some flat finish to her run in NXT. They're going to call her up to the main roster, probably after holding her off TV for about 4 months and totally making sure all of her heat is gone, because nobody's going to see her. And then they'll do the Nakamura thing where they'll have random, quote, competitive matches against Carmella or some shit. And
Carmella will probably be the champion at that point. Come on.
Exactly. She'll go out and she'll have to job to Carmella for about 6 months to make sure her heat's nice and dead. And then Vince will be like, you know what? We need a new star. Well, you had one, Vince.
Yep. So, aside, again, Wrong Girl went over. Not the Wrong Girl if this was a main brand match, but because this is developmental and Asuka needs to be moved up, the Wrong Girl went over here. I would have put it on Nikki Cross. There's something, but that's the problem, is she got over on her own. She wasn't supposed to get over to this level. It was supposed to be Ember Moon, the big conquering hero. Therefore, we're not going to do it.
Yeah, Ember's heat's also just dying. You can only beat up on the annoying Australian chicks for so long before people want to see you actually do a thing.
The problem is if you put her in there with Asuka or with Nikki Cross or with Ruby Riott, she's going to look so bad. Yeah,
it's not going to be good. I would honestly, I would put them together again for another women's triple threat match. I don't care how you can confabulate the story behind it. I don't really care, but I would almost put the title on Ruby Riott first, and then you can at least that's the person that Ember Moon could beat the most credibly.
But then you have a face conquering a face, and that brings out another problem. See, if you put the belt on Nikki Cross right now and let her become the new kind of big heel female down there, you can give Ember Moon the time to develop, which is what she needs, because she is a tremendously athletic girl who can definitely become something big. It's just that she's not ready yet. That's just all it is. She's still prone to botching. She's still prone to not being able to work at a high pace. And she's still prone to injuring people and herself. So she's not ready yet. So you buy time, you let Nikki Cross, and then after Nikki Cross has had a 6 months to maybe even a year reign, boom, then maybe Ember Moon's ready to actually become the big star.
Yeah, I would say so. Ruby Riott, Asuka, and Nikki Cross, they're all ready for the main roster and probably have been since they got signed. So, yeah, Ember Moon is not, but Ember Moon does need somebody to work with to develop. So, I don't know. Again, do you put a friendship between Ruby Riott and Ember Moon together and then turn Ruby Riott heel because she's a punk rocker and people think they're scum anyway? I don't know. The fantasy booking.
My fantasy booking of it would be you give Nikki the title here, you do a Nikki versus Ruby, basically continuation of that current feud.
Yeah.
Rolling on for maybe 2 months. Maybe to the next takeover or something. I don't know when the next takeover is, so I'm not sure. But 2 months or so. In the meantime, you do Ember Moon, finish up with maybe one more match with the Aussies, and then have her just do some kind of squash matches against some heels you bring up. Maybe have her defeat Sonya Deville, although that would be an ugly, terrible match. But I'm working with what you give me here. And then you have Ember Moon, when she's ready, take the title off of Nikki. To me, that would be the biggest deal, because Nikki is still a big deal. Ember gets her big win. Asuka moves on to the main roster with some panache. I think it's not perfect by any means, but I think that's the best way that this could have gone down. But we've been through this, that WWE does not actually listen to the crowd. They don't care who's over. It's who we want to push.
Yeah. Still, my ideal fantasy booking is that Asuka goes completely undefeated and eventually just puts the title on Regal's desk and said, "Listen, I'm out of here." And she just debuts on SmackDown or Raw or whatever.
That would be sweet too. It's just if they were going to do that, they should have already done it.
Yeah, totally. The thing of it is that they're breaking some records right now. So she legit beat Goldberg's streak, as far as I know, from what I've been able to piece together. And she's approaching being the longest running. They even said it, I believe, on NXT this week, was that she's close to becoming the longest running NXT champion period of all time of any any description. So maybe they're going for that record for her as well, and then she can just lay the belt on Regal's desk and go, "I'm out of here. There's nothing else here for me. I'm going to go get me a new belt."
I don't think that they'll do that is the problem.
No, I mean, it would be too awesome, and it would make a lot of sense.
And that, again, becomes the problem. If you've got to get the belt off her at some point, it's just going to be so flat compared to this. Just absolutely flat. But that was NXT. It was good. We really enjoyed Tommy versus Lorcan. We enjoyed Velveteen Dream versus Loon more than we expected to, so that's good.
I'm chalking it up tomorrow. I'm chalking it up tomorrow, and I'm chalking it up to also they had him work a shorter match. He doesn't have to fill a lot of time with things that he doesn't know how to do yet. So he got to get in there, put his stuff over, get his pizzazz on. Morrow put him over, and he's good to go.
And last woman standing was pretty fantastic. Even if we don't even if what we expect to happen is probably the worst possible future booking permutation we can come up with, but
yeah, still it was pretty darn good.
It was very good, very good. So that is all, and we'll be back to do Lucha Underground at some point. And that's pretty much about it this week. We don't have a pay-per-view this weekend, do we?
Not that I'm aware.
All right. That is all from us. And like I said, if you have any feedback about the audio, let us know, because we had a pretty good balance, and unfortunately the software has decided not to maintain it.